Supreme Court ruling of election results there in Kenya. Talk of the Eid celebrations and your message to Muslims, and talk about that Black Stars March later today. Just get onto Facebook. Our name is Joy News on TV. Drop your comments there and I'll be glad to share it with the rest of the world. Now, Kenya Supreme Court has annulled the results of the country's recent presidential election, citing irregularities. The Supreme Court said a new poll should be held within 60 days. The Election Commission had declared incumbent President Uhuru Kenyatta the winner of last month's election, but Kenya's opposition candidate Raila Odinga claimed that Commission's IT system had been hacked to manipulate the results, hence the decision to go to court. Now, let me just say that the Chief Justice of Kenya and the President of the Supreme Court, David Kenani Maraga, has been praised for taking this bold decision against an incumbent president. So just a lot of comments coming through, a lot of jubilation in Kenya, especially for members and supporters of Raila Odinga. Before we get into Facebook, let's get onto Twitter, because it should be the most trending issue there now. A lot of people are commenting there, and this is from BBC News World tweeting the moment judges annul presidential election, and Odinga on annulling Kenya's historic day for the people of Kenya and by extension the people of Africa, and that from Raila Odinga, who actually took this case to court, and it's been a keen one between Raila and Uhuru Kenyatta. But Alan Kasuja, all right, before we do that, the Associated Press tweeted this breaking news earlier about the Kenya Supreme Court overturning the president's re-election, citing irregularities, and they're calling for a new vote. And Alan Kasuja says, it isn't an understatement to say that hashtag Kenya Supreme Court has taught other African courts a lesson. Wow. And there are a lot of replies to that. Matiba says, first in Africa, third in the world, and says, true, do you see such a decision happening in Uganda in our lifetime? And that's actually a reply from Richard Sebuhinja. And Samuel Munjini says, hopefully we start to see an end to irregularities not having been significant. And another reply to that one says, indeed, so where's the so-called international observers who reported and says and lied to the world that everything was fine? Aaron Baguma says Uganda should have done that in 2006. And Sami Yaga at Analyst says, yep, I think it's true, but many things are starting to upgrade in Africa. And Roxanne Daphne says, heavy price to pay. If Uhuru wins again, then what? Well, Rex Melly says, in fact, Uganda's Supreme Court should learn from the Kenyan Supreme Court, replying to Kasuja's comment that this is a lesson that other African courts should learn. And Wamele Gideon Richter says, Sevo is out here laughing at Uhuru's incompetence, failing to clean up, tie up loose ends, and rake successfully like a pro. All right. So there are a lot of replies to that particular tweet that this ruling by Kenya Supreme Court should be one that a lot of African courts should learn from. But let's move on. Akwesi Sapon tweets says the credibility of election observation thrown under the bus in Kenya, just like exit polls crashed in the UK. Not business as usual. And he has that with an inverted face. He's had 50 retweets, and some people are actually responding or replying to Akwesi Sapon's tweet. Says, Akwesi, I'm now waking up to this unprecedented judgment. What audacity. Kudos to the Supreme Court. And Eva Mutua says, what is free and credible should be without question. Theatrics aside, we have seen Lady Justice speak. And Emanuela says, looks like it. All observers said the elections were free and fair, but the Supreme Court says otherwise. That's actually also a reply to Akwesi Sapon's tweet, citing Brexit as an example where the poll said otherwise, and it turned out to be another thing altogether. Kensky says, we all know observers don't have Africa's interest at heart. Kenya proved them wrong. And at Krasiva Dev Fonka says, the courts just set the bar for credibility of the entire process extremely high. Observers are mostly interested in the cosmetics. All right, so those are some replies to Akwesi Sapong's tweet, Akwesi Sapong with the BBC, saying that this is not business as usual. So a lot of people are commenting on this. Briefly, we'll be taking your comments on Facebook about the matter. And also, a lot of people have been talking about the fact that this took quite a short time, unlike some other cases. Well, maybe use Ghana as an example. When the election petition was heard, it took some months, almost 8 months. But this time round, you had a situation in less than a month. The elections were held on the 8th of August, and today is the 1st of September, and the Supreme Court is giving this verdict. So there you have it. What other comments will come up on Facebook? Join me. Nelson Owajaman says this is great news, and fairness and right of the people of Kenya must be critically considered and respected. On what grounds did international observers declare Kenya's election as credible, free and fair? And that's also coming from Nelson. Ni Ablo says, so we gave Mahama a whole 4 years to be in charge of Ghana. Says, what a mistake what that was. Okay, Bayer Jeremiah says, we thank God that none of the judges in Kenya's 2017 election petition made reference to Ghana's 2012 election petition. The judges read out their judgment in detail. But we know that the judges said they were going to give further details. So let's wait for that so we can make such conclusions. Icon Joseph says, congrats Kenya. These took only days or a few weeks, something that took my beloved Ghana 8 solid months. Nothing ever works in this country of ours. Hence we boast as the best democracy practicing country in Africa. God save us. Pop Richie says the best network. All right, that's not what we're talking about. Apel Kwejo Simon says now ex-president John Mahama has to go to Kenya again. Oh wow, and face Peter McMahon there. I don't know what's got to do with that. But Jerry Kami says, well done. Democracy is growing in Africa. God bless Ghana. God bless Africa. Young Asud says, I think the Kenyan president is a peaceful president. That's why, all right, I'm not sure we'd want to say that. But Benny Mana says, that is fair. It will promote freedom and unity. Greetings to Anthony Gansa. It's a holiday, so, people give it a few shout-outs, okay? Engineer Gomashi says, another defeat on Mahama's CV. Why? Okay, because he was part of those who observed and commented on the elections. Wilson Afei says, the beauty of democracy.